Question 7 says a class consists of 12 boys and 8 girls. They want to elect officers, so the president and treasurer are girls, and the vice president and secretary are boys. How many possibilities are there? So my first question that I ask myself, that I want you to get in the habit of asking yourself, is how many events do we have? Now we could think about this in a couple of different ways, potentially. Some students, when they start to think about it, might start with the idea that, well, I have to pick boys and girls separately, which is a perfectly good way to start the question. When we keep thinking about it from there, what we think about, though, is, all right, how do I count how to pick the boys? And hopefully what we realize when we start to think about it is when we think about needing to count the boys, well, really what we need to do is pick 2 boys, but they're going to have different individual roles, right? We need the boys to be the vice president and the secretary. So really we've got the vice president and the secretary are both boys. And then when we think about picking the girls, I again have to pick 2 individual people, the president and the treasurer. Should both be girls. So other students might have thought about this question and just jumped straight to this bottom set of events, that we've got 4 different events. We need to pick these 4 different officers: a vice president, secretary, president, treasurer, and you could pick them in a different order if you want as well. It's fine. The important thing is those individual roles all need to be selected. So let's think about numbers to go in those spots then. If I'm trying to pick a vice president, and that vice president needs to be a boy, well, how many options do I have? Well, let's look at how many boys are in the class. There's 12 boys in the class, so we would have 12 options to pick the vice president. The secretary then also needs to be a boy, and I can't pick the same person as the vice president, so we would be down to 11 options for secretary. When I switch to president, though, now we're picking from a new group of people. And the pool that we're picking from are girls, and there are 8 girls. So I would have 8 possibilities for president. I haven't picked any of the girls to do anything yet, so I would have all 8 as possibilities. But then when I get to treasurer, I can't pick the same girl who was president, so I would need a new person. So we're down to only 7 options for the treasurer. And then we're doing sequential counting principle. So sequential counting says multiply those numbers together. So while we're multiplying them together, we can think about the fact that what's different in this problem is we are doing sequential counting for the whole thing. So we did that 12 times 11 times 8 times 7, which is 7,392. But we, again, really had to think about what numbers go in the different events, in the different blanks. And with this one, at some point in the problem, we had to switch the size of the group of people that we were picking from because the types of things that we were picking changed. We switched from boys to girls.